Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bharat Marg. Thanks for being here. Today we are going to discuss about the Fox News host Tucker Carlson says India got civilization from Queen. White syndrome or what? And to discuss about it, we have the political analyst and also an author from Toronto, Canada, Vinay Ji with us. But before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel Bharat Marg, and also press the notification button to stay connected. But before Vinay Ji, thanks for being with us here. And before you start, let me show this to you on what Tucker Carlson was talking about. Okay, so we are on the same page here, and
remarkable country in the North Atlantic the size of Alabama that somehow took over the world and ruled it with decency unmatched by any empire in human history. And a genuinely remarkable people. A country in the North Atlantic the size of Alabama that somehow took over the world and ruled it with decency unmatched by any empire in human history.
Vinay Ji, I am
Yeah.
I'm going to come back to you on these things. Okay, I don't know whether you hear it well or not. He goes on
No,
to
I
say
couldn't hear
a
it properly. But anyways, go ahead.
small country took over the world and ruled it with such a decency and humane. Okay, that's what he's talking about.
I'm going to. Okay, continue. You can continue the video.
The last living link to a truly great Britain. Today on social media, the usual ghouls celebrated her death, but may her pain be excruciating, a Carnegie Mellon professor called Uju Anya wrote on Twitter of the Queen. May she die in agony. Various know-nothings in the media, including a columnist of The Atlantic and a couple of employees of NBC News, seconded that thought. The British Empire was evil, they wrote, apparently totally unaware of what came after it. And speaking of what did come after the British Empire, how, for example, did Africa withdrew from Afghanistan after 20 years? We left behind airstrips, shipping containers, and guns.
See here, this is about India he's talking about.
Systems, schools, churches, and public buildings.
Oh,
Which are still in use today. There's the train station, the English building.
he is talking about.
Afghanistan after 20 years, we left behind airstrips, shipping containers, and
He's talking about India.
pulled out of India. They left behind an entire civilization, a language, a legal system, schools, churches, and public buildings, all of which are still in use today. Here's the train station the English built in Bombay, for example. There's nothing like that in Washington, D.C. right now, much less in Kabul or Baghdad. Today, India is far more powerful than the UK, the nation that once ruled it. And yet, after 75 years of independence, has that country produced a single building as beautiful as the Bombay train station that the British colonialists built? No, sadly, it has not. Not one. So despite what they may be claiming on Twitter tonight, the British Empire was more than just genocide. In fact, the British did not commit genocide, except arguably against the Dutch during the Boer War. The British did give the world the Magna Carta and habeas corpus. And
Vinay Ji, he goes on to say that India has no buildings like, in those days it was called as Victoria Terminal. Now it is Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal. And he says no building like that ever built. Okay. And India got civilization and all the things that you are talking about of culture, everything from the Brits. And you call her a genocide queen. How is that?
Okay, coming to Tucker Carlson, I think we all know that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist, and he believes in that, and I'm openly going to say that on this channel. I don't want to mince any words here, and he's got a huge bias against.
Vinay Ji, does this guy even know that there
He
are temples?
has absolutely no clue. He has not done enough research, or any research for that matter. And I'll give you an example. Britain they opened their first school in 1800s, I think 1811 or 1820, something in that range. Okay. But at the time they opened their first school in Britain,
Mhm.
in India, there were 17,000, 174,000 schools, gurukulas already in existence. Okay. And the funny thing or the irony is, there were 174,000 gramas in India. Gramas are the villages. So which means that each gram, each village had one gurukula. So now this is total, completely, there's no comparison at all. When Britain was opening its first school, India already had 174,000 schools. Okay.
Vinay ji, let me put some fact for the benefit of the users here. Okay, I
Sure.
hope you see the video here on the site that is running. With what kind of famine it was artificially created and kill the people of India. Okay,
Yeah,
but keeping
absolutely.
that aside, we will go through in detail. But I just want to give you some fact. Okay, see, in Tamil, okay, Tamil, one of the southern languages, the grammar was written 15,000 years back from Agastya Gurukul.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
and the person who
absolutely.
wrote was a lady by name Kakai Padiniyar.
Yeah.
Okay, that means the women were going to school and women were doing the grammar, and Andal was writing Tirupavai. Okay,
Exactly.
and this
And
guy comes and they didn't have a voting right for
and
women.
I'll tell you about in Sanskrit, and there's a grammarian called Panini.
Uh-huh.
Panini lived thousands of years ago, and Sanskrit had a pure grammar that is so complex that I'll give you a very simple thing in Sanskrit. A noun, like any name or any name, can be said in 9 times 3, which is 27 different ways. 27 different ways a name can be said. Okay. So
And
this kind of
when he
complexity,
lived,
and he lived several thousand years ago, and this
yeah,
kind of complexity is unheard of in the modern languages or English or whatever, right? And he's talking about culture and education and buildings. Okay, I'll give you an example on buildings. You've seen the amount of let's go to Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, the amount of architecture in the temples constructed by the Cholas is unbelievable. Unbelievable. The extent of the architecture and the carvings and all that is, it's all very completely scientific, the way that everything was carved. Then you go to the Ajanta Elloras, the caves, the Elephantas, and you can keep going and going and going. And the amount of structure that was built, like the Victoria Terminus VT station is like a joke in front of these kind of architecture.
no,
So
I am not going to put down what it was built, but the thing is, for you to have a nerve to say that you brought the civilization just because you have a color of that kind.
yeah, this is what I was trying to tell you right in the beginning.
And
This guy is totally biased,
Vinayji,
right?
I wish I have the post. Vinayji, I wish I have the post. He is talking about Africa, how much culture he brought. I was just talking to the man who was saying when they came to Africa, they brought the Bible. They had the Bible and we had the land. When they left Africa, we had the Bible and they had the land.
That's what it is. I mean, I'll give you an example on the Queen, right? The Queen, the British monarchy, are the largest landholders in the world. They own 6.6 billion with a B acres of land across the world. Africa, Canada, Australia, US. I mean, you name it. They
And
have
how about
land
Indian
everywhere.
churches?
Exactly, because the Church of England actually is the biggest church for the Protestants. It's like the other spectrum of Catholic Church, which is headed by the Pope, and Church of England is headed by the Queen, and the Queen, as the head of the Church of England, yes, they have lots of churches across the globe, and the property, the land, everything belongs to the Church of England. So you can imagine like how much land they own, and all because you are exactly right. They handed the Bible and they took away their land.
And there are Christian missionaries right now in India. They talk about, these guys stooges are talking about, you cannot say anything about Queen because she is ours. Heck with you guys, she is not ours. But I want to show you something that might be of interest for your conversation. Okay.
Mhm.
This is something which is happening in London, which might be of your interest.
School choir in Hammersmith in West London.
Are you able to
They
hear?
represent many different
Very well.
nationalities, and they're going to perform
Now I can
a
hear very well.
poetic verse, the shloka.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Samsamik Jivase Vishalakde Vishwanyarya Eraspate Samnityase Sano Vasurya Para Sangachatvam Sanvadatvam Sanvomanansi Janatam Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve Sanjanana Upasate Samano Manchaha Sahitihi Samani Samanam Manaha Saha Chittamesham Samanam Manchamapi Mantrayevaha Samanena Mono Havisham Juponi Samani Va Ahutihi Samana Hridayani Vaha Samanamastu O Mano Yatha Vaha Susahasati Om Shanti 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 Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Fantastic.
This is happening. This is happening in her funeral. Okay, all the people are coming. I want to ask Tucker Carlson. Okay, one question. Does he know the age of this sloka? This was also brought in by.
Don't ask him, please. He'll say
This was
the
also
British,
written
the
by
British
British
gave
or what?
this. The British came up with this sloka. That's what he is going to say.
Our Christian missionaries themselves will say that.
Exactly. They'll say that they gave the sloka. This sloka actually, Gurubhyo Namaha, is actually paying, your respects to your teacher, right? And this is what it is. And this goes back to the Gurukula days, which goes back to thousands and thousands of years ago. Whether it was in North India, South India, anywhere, Gurukula system existed in India, and that was the school. And that actually transformed. And at the time, the irony is, in Gurukulas, they taught at the school level, not at the university level. At the school level, they taught astronomy, they taught metallurgy, they taught astrophysics, they taught chemistry,
In Gurukul.
biology, and highly advanced subjects. This is the funny. And even surgery was introduced at the very beginning, actually, when kids were matured. And at the time, there was nothing like, oh, you have to be 15 to be in grade 10, or you have to be so and so. It's like how you absorb your knowledge. If somebody is absorbing knowledge, then that person goes
We were
And
better
then, yeah.
off. We were better off because without Macaulay education.
Oh yeah,
For
this
sure.
this current system of education, which is followed across the world, is absolutely, there's a lot of questions about it. I mean, like, I went through that education. I'm not going to make a big fuss about it, but I'll tell you, a lot of questions can be, raised about this particular
And
education
and
system.
and quickly, I also want to say, rather than world building, Tucker Carlson, the redneck guy from Fox News, should come to Delhi now and see Central Vista project. Rajpath has become Kartavya Path.
Exactly. He has to watch that, and he has to see it actually in person, not over, television or whatever, right?
And
He has to see
without
it in
putting
person.
his white sunglass.
Yes. Yeah. Make sure that he is, he doesn't have any blinders. He has to watch it with open, you know,
And this
open.
is this is the video Tucker Carlson was talking about. You may like to see this video.
Some people are saying that celebrating or minimizing the death of the Queen is insensitive.
Again, the volume is
That may
low.
be true, but in my view, it's even more insensitive to saturate our media with celebratory posts about a person who, for many people, is a symbol of genocide, colonization, and all the violent institutions that came.
You're able to hear it?
She was queen.
Little better.
Lead the war that destroyed my country. And just this year, she gave a knighthood to one of the main criminal masterminds behind it, Tony Blair. Far from showing respect for the dead, that's basically saying it's honorable to kill hundreds of thousands of Iraqis. And of course, this is just one of countless atrocities committed in the name of
Wow.
the crown, adorned with the spoils of war. So in my view, it's totally inappropriate for people to police how victims of colonization talk about the passing of the Queen. And I think it's only right that if we choose to remember her legacy, that we remember all of it.
This is what Tucker Carlson was saying. This is
Exactly.
what he was talking about, saying people are celebrating her death.
No, I'm just going to because this lady who was talking, right? She brought up about colonization and things like that.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you the sentiment in the Caribbean countries
Mhm.
that are still under British rule. Like the British crown is still considered the head of the state in many of the Caribbean countries.
Mhm.
They feel that they have to sever the links from the British crown, British monarchy, because the British legacy is linked to the history of slavery, and you do not want that to carry on, because British considered everybody other than themselves as slaves.
No, they consider all whites the same.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. Anybody other than the white color, they consider them as slaves.
Absolutely. This is a topic of your book, Vinay Ji. Do you see the picture here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is the ex-daughter-in-law of the Queen who just passed at the age of 96, Diana, Princess Diana. And she says, "Long time no see, Queen, welcome." what do you say about this?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that Diana died under such circumstances, and there was a lot of unanswered questions with regards to Diana's death. And actually, I'm working on a book called The Rape of the Sovereign, and it'll be coming out probably within the next 18 months or so. And the theme of the book is basically all the conspiracies behind Diana's death, right? And I'll be honest with you, when the book comes out, you'll see what I mean. So I mean, like, I've done a lot of research in the book, and yeah.
Absolutely. And does she had a hand on daughter-in-law's thing too? Yeah.
Ah,
You
yeah,
talk
I mean,
about.
like,
Yeah, and I want you to quickly, in 2 minutes, as a last word, address few things, Vinayji, if you can. Kohinoor was stolen from India, Bhadragali temple, not returned. No apology was provided, even for stealing the Kohinoor or for doing genocide in what do you call in Punjab and other places like Kattabomman in Madurai, Tirunelveli. So many things we have done videos on. You will able to see, go and see hidden history, okay, on the freedom fight. And Velu Nachiyar thing, so many things in Karnataka. I am sure you will able to relate to so many people who've been massacred, which is not part of the history, okay. And no apology was provided,
Correct.
okay. And no the stolen goods like Kohinoor was never given back,
Yeah.
okay. And her daughter-in-law murder, okay. And also her whole family is disintegrated now, okay. You have the last word.
So
Queen.
just a couple of things. One is, although I'm not a big fan of Shashi Tharoor, Shashi Tharoor actually, when he was speaking at Oxford University few years, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe maybe a few years ago, he brought up this beautiful. He spoke very well, and he talked about all the atrocities committed, all the looting that was committed by the British, and he was asking for reparations. And reparations is basically the British have to not only apologize for all the atrocities committed, including Jallianwala Bagh and so many other things that they committed, killing. It was mass genocide, right, of people. And apart from that, like you just pointed out, you should go to the British Museum. Oh my God, it's a joke. British Museum should be called Indian Looting Museum. So India, that's it should be renamed as that, because they have looted so many things, so much architecture. I've been there myself, and I've seen like every part of the thing is like it's all architecture and idols and jewelry and stuff like that from India that were brought. And then even the crown jewels, right? If you go to the Tower of London, and where I've been, and basically it's worse than Tirupati. It's basically jargandi, right? It's basically they're asking people to move, so that you only get a vision of the god only for half a second. This here is worse, because the moment they see Indians, because those guys are basically keeping all the jewels that were stolen by the British crown, and they call it the crown jewels, but really they were Indian jewels stolen from Indian kings, and including Kohinoor diamond and stuff like that. So it's very unfortunate that the British has not apologized, no reparations, because today the amount of stuff they've stolen is valued in trillions of dollars, and that's how British was able to build their underground, their railway system, their roads, their buildings. What Tucker Carlson is talking about, everything that was built in Britain was money looted from India. Because if you compare the other colonies that were held by British, there is no comparison. India was a very rich country compared to other countries that were colonized by Britain. So again, that's my last word. So
And did you see the famine pictures? You
yes,
have
I
anything to
I
say
saw that.
about it?
Yeah.
It's running on your side. I hope you are able to see it.
Yeah, I saw that actually, and it's I mean a lot of this is like it's a photo shoot, right? Like you see those kids standing in a line and they're taking a picture. Yeah, that picture, right? It's a photo shoot. Like they picked up these kids from God knows where, and they asked them to stand for a photo shoot, and they took that photo shoot and they said, "This is what is going on in India, famine of 1937," and it's unbelievable. Like this is like crazy. Like what were they trying to do? What were they trying to do? And this is how Tucker Carlson and people like him actually get opinionated about the Indian culture and Indian the heritage and everything else, right? So it's very unfortunate. People have to get more educated, and it's not just by watching these kind of pictures. They got to do a lot more research. Mr. Tucker Carlson, I ask you, I request you to go to India and do some research.
You have some interesting comments here. Maybe you may like to address this. Okay. There is a dude by name Wahab Abdul. He says, keep crying like a hurt rabbit. Okay, what about you, Dudu? Okay, what do you say, Vinayji? This
I
guy
don't
is
know.
spamming you.
I don't know who is referring to. I'm not trying to, I don't want to counter anything, but it's the facts are right there. If anybody wants to do research, they can go and do the research
Uh,
and understand what
and
Indian
this
culture is all about.
peaceful dude is saying you are keep on exploiting the people from all religion, the lower caste, in which you elevate yourself to the top caste. Hey, I want to say this guy, okay, I want to do a video on it. See, listen, Vinayji, these guys, when they asked whether you want the hat, whether you put a what is the topi or a knife, they do it. And our ancestors stand bold for the dharma, not ran away like a coward. You know. Anyhow,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, like, you know what? In India, always has believed in religious freedom, and in fact, it's surprising that for people like Wahab, right? We should know
see,
that in India,
Brahmin
many
religion
religions
is
were
sinking
born.
ship.
Yeah, many.
Brahmin religion is sinking ship. He doesn't even know ABCD of Sanatan.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fine. I mean, like, you know what? There are religious fanatics, like, many people, and they kind of make fun of stuff, and unfortunately, they've not done the research.
Anyway, this is out of the subject. This guy was spamming, but anyway, I thought of an interesting thing to
Yeah.
go
No,
through.
no, no
But
worries.
anyway, Vinayji, thank you for your time. But before I have a last question for you before going further, friends, I want to say you that with Bharat Marg now you can learn Sanskrit for free. Okay, for all age groups. You can just send a WhatsApp and get registered and study Sanskrit for free, because without Sanskrit and Sanskriti there is no Desh and Dharma. Understand? The Rakshas is waiting to eat us if you are not going to follow the Dharma. Okay, and you can also become the member of Bharat Marg now and become part of all the good deeds. What we do, like Godan, Go Seva, Nandidan, Nandi Seva, Pradosham Puja, yeah, Dwadasi Puja and Ammavasya Annadan and much more. Okay, and also support Bharat Marg in the process. Also, now you can take our service for a luxury private pilgrimage to go anywhere to Tirtha Yatra in and northwest, east, south of Bharat. Okay, along with your parents, children, it is a senior citizen friendly, as well as it is special need friendly. Friends, now you can get one dharmic message every day by sending a WhatsApp to +16479644790 in the language of your choice. Thank you, Vinayji. Appreciate what you did, and thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
to the show and exposing what it is. Okay, and again, we will be looking forward for your book, upcoming book. It's more to do with the Diana, right?
That's right. Yes.
Diana, and what did the queen do really? Nobody talks about it today,
Yeah.
but the book will reveal. Thank you, Vinayji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna ji. Thank you.